constant battle. Do you live in New York or LA? Which coast? This one chose LA. LA.
Well, California at large. I was in San Francisco and now in LA.
Beautiful. Both.
Yeah.
Nice. I love my trips out there. I like my trips back. It's fun. I love. You know what it is? And I love the 6 hours that I'm not being bothered by anyone, just getting from
You
one
just want to
place
live
the
on that plane.
That's all I want to do, especially if I'm upgraded. This is Anna Akbari, and Anna is a sociologist, which is such a broad term now. It really is a very, very broad term.
Well, I guess I think a lot of people might think of themselves as sociologists, but you kind of have to get a PhD in it to actually be
A sociologist. Like, my friends are non-sociologists.
Right. Yeah.
Can I just tell you? So tell people what that means.
Essentially, I study human behavior and its connection to culture and what that all means.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It again sounds broad, but in today's day,
so you can have niche areas. Yeah. So for instance, one area that I focus on is visual self-presentation and the semiotics of how the connection between how we self-present and our claim to power in any given context. So that's pretty specific. Or I've done a lot of work around media and our construction of identity and how we're represented there. And, also happiness and things and behaviors that make us happy and contribute to different.
Why we're happy, how we're happy.
Yeah. So those we have different areas that we focus on.
And which part of that do you love the most, or what's the most interesting to you?
Well, I see them all. They might sound different, but I see them all as being very complementary.
Okay.
I love the work that I do one-on-one with individuals to help them understand how they're perceived. That's something that I think people are sort of mentally preoccupied with, whether they are into fashion or not. It's really about a kind of a physical self-awareness.
Sure.
And I think there's often a gap between the self that you envision and the way that you want to be perceived and then the reality of it. And so by helping people align their personal and professional goals with their image, it's very empowering for them.
I feel like I live that through social media, right? So I have an idea of who I am, but when I go back and I look at all my posts, I wonder if there's a discrepancy between who I am and who I sort of portray as I put out there. And I wonder if that complicates things for people.
Well, yeah, because it used to be that we had one physical body and our physical body was in one place at any given moment. And that was it. And that's the only thing you had to worry about, what you were saying or how you looked in that moment.
Sure.
And now you're operating right now on 8 different channels.
I know.
And then there's the footprint that you leave on all of those. And so we can become really paranoid narcissists very easily.
Yes, we can. Is that what's happening? We're raising a generation like that. A generation that doesn't know anything other than doing
paranoid narcissist, we're just going to let that leave?
No. I mean, she's
the paradox of that.
She's going to address it.
I'm saying that that's something that we can slip into very easily on
And is that so? We would be slip. That's a bad thing.
That's a bad thing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
It is a bad thing, right?
Paranoid in the sense that you are worried at any moment that there's going to be a misstep, that you're not perfect, and it can actually weigh really heavily. There's been some research, and you see some younger individuals going off different platforms or not wanting to engage because it's too much. I mean, when I was in high school, we didn't have social media.
I didn't even have a cell phone.
Right. So you think back to how difficult it was to just keep yourself together and be cool when you had just one body and one persona. And now imagine it across all these channels. That's a very sophisticated level of self-management.
Of course.
And so, it leads to very drastic feelings.
And we're not all adults who are managing this. Oftentimes it's teenagers who are trying to manage this. Or kids in their early 20s just got out of college trying to figure out who they are, how they fit in.
Yeah.
And now they have to also figure out the sense of self and how they portray themselves. And I'm sure that's not easy for kids as well.
Well, and it asks us to do a deeper set of reflective sort of questions and introspection, I think, because it's, as I said, it's different than just acting in the moment. You're really constructing this self for your life and for the community that you're around. In fact, you interact more often with everyone that is looking at you virtually than you certainly do in your embodied life. And so, it does take some planning and thought.
So on top of all of that, one other part of your little niche is the concept of the startup, right? The startup in life, the startup in careers, the startup in relationships. You wrote this book, Start Up Your Life. Tell me a little bit about the book.
So it applies the principles and methodologies from Silicon Valley to your personal life. So all the things that make startups great.
Which are?
The fact that you're...
Please tell us, because we're living it right now.
Well, you're always hustling.
You're
always hustling. Disrupting assumptions.
Constantly.
You know, shifting paradigms.
Yes.
You are experimenting all the time.
Yes.
You're not afraid of failure. You're embracing risk. These are things that a lot of times, A, large corporations don't do as much, and B,
because they're established.
Right. And we think of ourselves often more like an established corporation than a feisty startup.
Okay.
And by embracing that mentality of, I need to experiment, I need to hustle, I need to rethink, this conventional wisdom that's been passed down to me.
Right.
You become edgier, more successful, and ultimately happier.
Did you have to explain that to, when you sat down to write this book, did it all sort of come, or did you kind of figure things out or discover things or have to talk to a number of people? Because it makes sense now that you explain it, but I never thought about it like that before.
Well, this was, I finished my PhD in 2008, right as the financial crisis was.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And so, it was this thing that I've been working toward. It was this milestone that was supposed to make me happy, right? And often we live our lives for milestones rather than all the stuff in between. And it's all the stuff in between that's the stuff of our lives.
Right.
So I had to start experimenting, and I had to think outside of the conventional channels, and I had to figure out, how do I be happy in chaos? And so I started applying a lot of these principles. I've been working as an entrepreneur for a while at that time, sort of on the side, and I started being scrappy and bootstrapping my life in a different way. And so this is sort of the compilation of all the things that I have been doing over the better part of a decade and then some.
I think it's a great concept. So explain to me, give me some ideas, some suggestions of how to be happy in chaos and how to sort of stop and live in it rather than trying to always get past it.
Well, one of the things that I talk about and that is central to startups is an MVP, minimum viable product, right? And why do we love...
Here's me being like, everyone needs LeBron James. Way off, but that was way off.
Right, different MVP.
Clearly.
And minimum viable products are great.
What is it?
Minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product.
It means it's the lean version of whatever the product is that they're putting out.
It's us.
Oh, that's us? We're the MVP?
We're the minimum viable product.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being an MVP essentially just means you're stripping down all the unnecessary stuff.
That is us, Lance.
I just said that. Wow.
No, I need to hear from a woman. Sorry. I need to hear from a sociologist.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Now that I heard from a sociologist, it makes more sense.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was hearing it from the sociologist myself.
I need to hear.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet again. I'll go back. I'll put the coffee there.
I'll just translate whatever you say.
If you could just translate English to English, that would be great.
Very
so
helpful.
You're stripping away all the clutter, and in your own life, it's all the shoulds, all the nice to haves, and the stuff that takes you away from your core. What are you all about? What is it that you're seeking? What are you trying to get to? And so one of the things that I have people do in the book is to define their mantra. Larger companies will have their mission statement.
Okay.
And I think a lot of us might not have, what is at our core? What's the mantra that gets you back to what really matters in your life and that you can channel through everything you're doing? And then if a choice does not connect with that, you can let it go.
Give me an example. What's your mantra?
I can't tell you that.
Why?
I recommend that no one ever tell anyone what their mantra is.
All right, give me an example of a mantra that somebody could...
It could be as simple as a word, right?
Okay.
It could be love. That could be your mantra.
Nothing simple about it, but okay.
But in terms of linguistically, it's pretty simple.
Sure.
Or it could be, I want self-care. It could be, I want to take care of myself.
Okay.
Right? And everything, that's the metric.
Has to funnel through that.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
So in addition to the mantra, I have people set up their life rule book where you can break down all the different aspects of your life, what you eat, how you reflect, how you form community.
Sure.
And you create a sort of rule for yourself in relationship to that. So you have the overarching mantra, and then you have the rule for all the aspects of your life. And again, you channel it all through there so that then when it comes time to make a decision, you already know what the decision is going to be.
Right.
Because you've already laid out what matters to you.
So tell me about the book. How is it put together, and how did you decide how you were going to take all of this, which is such sweeping and really huge concepts, and I could spend hours on each one and funnel it into the book.
So each chapter I talk about an example from Silicon Valley or an entrepreneur, sort of as an anecdote for what it is I'm trying to talk about, whether it's failure or relationships or money or beyond. And then I use an example from my own life. And at the end of every chapter, and I put lots of good data and sociological stuff in there as well, and at the end of every chapter, I offer 3 to 4 recommendations of how you can actively apply these concepts to your life starting today, to be happier now, not someday. And I also give you what I call the top 10 chapter takeaways, or the lazy lowdown, for people who are busy and just want to kind of skip and get what it is, what are the things that they need to remember, and those become the sort of mantras for your life in relationship to those niche areas.
Do you know what I think the problem a lot of people have is it's hard for them to verbally say what they want, right? And so when you don't know what you want, it's hard for you to get it, right? It's hard for you to find happiness when you don't know what it is that really makes and truly makes you happy. So it sounds like, from what you're describing, like this is a great way for you to figure out by asking yourself questions and figuring out what it is that is important to you, you know, what your own personal mission statement is, what your life is about, like what are your instructions? Like I need a manual. Like when I had my baby, the first baby, and I left the hospital, like I asked them for the instruction manual, and they're like, well, we don't have one. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
They're like, this meaning your baby? I'm like, I don't know, what do I do with her now? They're like, well, you take her away so we could bring someone else in. I was like, okay, that's the first thing in the manual. That's a start. Now I know what I need to do. I need to leave the hospital.
Take baby with you.
I think oftentimes it is very hard for us to say, this is what I want, not just in life, but this is what I want this week, this month, this year. But maybe what I'm hearing from you is that breaking it down that way and asking yourself those questions can actually help you find happiness, and not just getting to the big, huge, next big, crossroads in your life, but the small steps that get you there.
Yeah, the small steps. One of the things I ask in the presentations that I give on this is, what is that you're seeking, and are you allowing it to find you? Because
say it again. What is it that you're seeking?
And are you allowing it to find you?
That's great.
Because we can put up all kinds of blockers.
Yep.
Fear is a big one. People are more likely to stay in jobs and relationships that they hate than to take a chance on something that might even be right in front of them, an opportunity, an offer. Because we fear the unknown, and we embrace familiarity even when it makes us miserable.
Sure.
So we have to get out of our own way. And one of the things I also recommend is making time for play. Because I think it's when we play that we start to imagine alternative realities for ourselves. And we never know when the moment or the person or the opportunity that's going to give us a chance to have the life pivot that makes all the difference is going to come in.
Okay.
And when you play, you're not being productive. It's a thing in itself. It's not about a metric of success beyond just being present.
So give an example of playing and how people can find those pockets in their life.
I just heard you guys talking about karaoke.
Yes.
And I'm a big karaoke person.
You could use her.
And in fact, I'm singing it tonight.
Get out of here.
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
So I co-founded the New York Tech Karaoke Meetup, and before that,
what? That's why did we lead with that?
I didn't know that was my big selling point.
Lance, get that down.
The New York Tech Karaoke thing.
Are you joking?
Where and when? What time?
Joke about that kind of thing.
Well, tell people where that is. Don't hide the good stuff.
You can find that on Meetup, New York Tech Karaoke Meetup. Join it. There's I think 400 and some people that are.
She's like, also I'm dating the Pope. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Back to the book now. I'm like, what?
I want to know about the Pope dating.
Right.
Is that in the book?
Chapter 7. Dating the high.
That's the epilogue, right?
And so karaoke. Now, over the years, there have been some wild and crazy parties where, you know, we had pants optional Valentine's karaoke events and Santa Oki parties, and, you know, we had taxidermy mascots, and I mean, these are colorful
the best.
And then my other play outlet is I roller skate. Now I live in California, but I'm a longtime roller skater with the Central Park dance skaters. You know,
we walked by them and I was like, look, there's a bunch of
people every bit as fabulous as.
They're so talented.
They're unbelievable.
Little, like, offbeat, which is what attracts you to come see them.
And nothing ironic about them.
No, not at all.
It's just pure.
How about a sociologist, like, telling me there's nothing ironic about the offbeat?
Well, she's allowed to use the word ironic today, but
you didn't use ironic. You said paradoxical.
or ironically. I'm sorry.
Come on. Dear Webster.
There's actually a book, The Paradox of Happiness.
Yes, there is. Mm-hmm. There is. I know that because you just said it, so that's how I knew it.
Well, I open with a quote that is that, you know, happiness is a byproduct. It's not something that you seek out. And I think that's a problem with how a lot of us try to be happy. You know, we say, oh, if I just get married, I'm going to be happy.
If I just have kids.
If I make a partner at my firm, if I, you know, all these things, that's our pursuit of happiness. Instead of the small stuff, instead of just put my roller skates on and see where I roll over to.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's how, you know, to go back to that phrase that I said, is that's how you allow things into your life. That's how you know that what you're seeking can find you.
Sherry Stretch says that happiness is an inside job.
Yes, Sherry, that's actually really cute and true.
It's an inside job, but I would also add that it's our relationships that ultimately make us happiest and healthiest in our life. And I'm sure you know that relationships, not having close, intimate relationships is the equivalent of being obese or smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It's the single biggest indicator of our well-being long-term in life. And so it's inside, but it isn't something where you just isolate and you make yourself happy. We are social creatures. Our identities are constructed in concert with other people, and isolation is pretty much the least healthy thing you can do.
Larry, did you hear that? You're the least social person. I hope you hear that. You won't talk to anyone. Won't jump into a camera. Yeah.
I am a rock. I am an eye.
I land. Absolutely. The concept of the startup, where did that come from?
Well, you know, I was dabbling in entrepreneurship and in the startup world and working in Silicon Valley, and, you know, every company wants to operate like a startup. Every company wants to be a tech startup, even if they're not. And they can be if they adapt that mindset and really try to operate in that lean, MVP-oriented way that isn't afraid of failure.
We're a startup. Aren't we a startup?
If we're not a startup, then nobody's a startup.
Just wanted to make sure I wasn't insulting anyone. Can you give us some advice?
As a startup?
Yes. Besides being MVPs, which before I even knew what that meant, in my mind, I was my own MVP. Thank you very much.
Yes.
But now I know what she means. Still that MVP. Thank you very much.
Yes. Well, I mean, just as a startup, I would say, you know, on your journey, have you guys pivoted at all?
Did we pivot? Yes. We pivoted a little bit.
We pivoted a bunch.
Yes.
We've been
pivoting. And how did you know when it was the right time for that?
Well, the first pivot was we went to a daily show.
Yes, we went from once a week to every single day.
And how did you learn that?
A lot of it's based on trial and error. We do something, and if it doesn't work, we have to experiment and try something else.
Exactly.
And we don't just make decisions until we see if something works or doesn't work, and that's how we base our decisions.
And it's iterative.
Of course.
So it sounds like you guys are.
So we're doing the right thing.
You're on the right path.
Go us.
What's your metric for success?
We don't have metrics.
So
I don't believe in metrics.
Right.
That's where we differ. So tell her what your.
Yeah.
I don't believe in metrics. Because metrics operate as ceilings, and we're in something. These platforms are so fresh, and so there's no way of knowing what we should be knowing. We just aim for quality, I think, in everything that we do, but we utilize speed in what we're doing. So speed is important to us because especially in this industry, people are slow. They're slow to adapt, they're slow to work, and they're certainly slow to pivot on information and to utilize information. So there's a lot of things we've been doing on the social media side that we have empirical data about, and people disagree with it. With us, and I'm like, fine, okay, but we're moving fast. Like, we want to do the show, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to move fast, and that's what we're doing.
I mean, and obviously, I think, and I think this is important. You guys have fun doing what you do, and that's infectious. And that
was actually the starting point for the show. Was Jenna? I mean, I was actually taking pictures. You guys both have books. You're both authors. And your books are in front of you. We started the book tour, and
we did a book tour. We instead of doing a standard book tour, we decided to think outside the box.
Yeah.
We read and talked about a chapter live, 30 chapters. So we went to a different Barnes & Noble, different location all day. We did this in 2 days.
Wow.
We read every single chapter and talked about every chapter in the book live streamed for each one. And that was sort of this virtual book tour. And we sort of fell in love with dialogue and talking, and we were successful. And people were on board with it, and they liked it. It was information sort of from a different angle. And we decided maybe we do this all the time, and that's how we got started.
What bit of feedback have you guys received from your audience that has most impacted
us?
You as a
startup? So You Suck was a big one. That was a big one. You Suck.
No, Lance Sucks.
Lance Sucks.
Lance Sucks is an even bigger, more often.
The beautiful thing about this, as opposed to say television or print or any of it, is this is instantaneous feedback.
Yeah.
So if I say something that's controversial, someone across one of these platforms is going to tell me immediately.
Yeah.
And we'll have a discussion, and then I can change and pivot right then and there. As opposed to traditional forms of media.
Or you can double down on it.
Or I can double down on it, which we do at both sides. Or other forms of media, it takes emails and big conference calls and meetings, and then do you change the format of a traditional? It's too much. We, as Lance was saying, we move quickly, and so I think it's the feedback that really gives us an edge and allows us to see what's working and what's not working, and be able to change quickly or to make our point and stick with it. I don't know, we're enjoying it.
As Margie Lucy says, the Jenna Show is lots of fun and very open, smiley face.
We're very honest. I've never been in a more honest, open meeting. I'll answer any question, live, immediately, whatever it is. And if I can't answer it, I'll tell you why I can't answer it. But you don't really get that in any other way. And I find that it's very eye-opening, and it's very raw and organic, and it's as open a startup as you could possibly have.
Yeah.
This is us. We're going to make mistakes on some days. We're going to be putting up pictures on other days. Like, we're just steamrolling ahead. And as life happens, life's going to happen. But if we become that thing where we want to tell everybody we're perfect, no, don't make mistakes, we don't have room for mistakes, no room for mistakes, which is what a lot of other people are doing, or waiting until they're perfect before they start something.
Yeah.
If you don't leave room for error, you're going to become error, I think.
Well, celebrating failure is human. It's something people can connect with.
Yes.
We're comprised of imperfections. That's what makes us complex and compelling. Perfection isn't interesting.
At all.
No.
Because that's why we're the most interesting show in the world. Far and
yes,
away.
I will trip getting my Emmy.
Your book is called Start Up Your Life. It's a fascinating concept. I absolutely love it. I never thought about applying the concept of a startup to relationships and to life and to career. And if you do, it seems almost logical that it could really, really help you. I think you have a great handle on how to find happiness, and I love that you took this approach. I also love talking to sociologists because I have a million questions about myself. This is great. Enjoy roller skating. Enjoy your karaoke.
Thank you.
Could we karaoke sometime?
Could we, please?
Could we be friends? Like,
yes.
I know we're interviewing each other, but maybe we could be friends of some sort?
People who karaoke together, stay together.
Woman after my own heart. Anna Akbari, thank you so much. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And safe travels back to the warmth.
Thank you.
Darren was pointing out that we do have the karaoke. Did we get the karaoke?
We have the karaoke machine. It's
in the studio.
Tease me like that.
We actually have one. We were talking about this yesterday. This is really like a...
All right, next time. What's your go-to karaoke song before we go?
There's just so
Barry
many.
Oh, Barry Manilow.
Yeah, no, not Barry Manilow. There's so
many Barry Manilow songs.
No, not Barry
Manilow. I didn't know where you were going with that. Okay.
No, so many songs. It depends on the time of the night. So You know, my first karaoke song that I ever sang was Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys.
How does that go?
Old, you know the mama. Yeah, it was my first 45 when I was little. And then I like to sing "Son of a Preacher."
Son of a Preacher. Okay.
I like to sing "Drift Away" by Dobie Gray. You know that one?
No, but give
me the beat. What was it for you?
My soul, I want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Yes, I know that.
I like to sing Mercedes Benz. You can
Janis Joplin.
end the night, Janis Joplin. You can end the night with, and it's kind of a cliche song, but I really like to think that I can own it.
Take Another Little Piece of My Heart.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh, turn around.
It usually involves floor calls.
Yes.
Not
making out with someone. Oh.
Not to date myself, but I saw Bonnie Tyler and Kim Carnes in concert at the Beacon Theater in 1979.
Wow.
1980. It was an incredible concert. It was really
awesome.
Well, when I was born, they used to call me Bright Eyes in the hospital because I never slept, and that song was sort of so
it's a great song. Oh God, I loved her voice so much. Beautiful voice. All right, that's it. We have a date planned. We're karaoke. Yay! It's gonna be great, and I'll bring my my inline skates, and you'll bring your roller skates. And
perfect.
We'll do it up.
Tracy Bender Schisler says that's what I like. You guys are very honest. Darren is pointing out that we could do Legos in between segments.
Sure.
New York East Side Entertainment wants to know my email address. It's Laifer, Laifer, @gmail.com.
See how honest we are?
Live TV and radio was the genesis of today's TV. The corporate money killed live TV. Arcam Malari says, love this, you should do this all the time. We do. It's on 11 to...
Just sing karaoke.
I think 11 to 3. It was before the karaoke started. Today in Canada, she's saying it's Bell, let's talk mental illness. It's been all over Instagram and the news and the stigma of it.
Yep.
Okay, we made it. We got, I think... Tony Walters wants to know who our guest is.
This is Anna Akbari. She's a sociologist. She's the author of the book Start Up Your Life, which is a fascinating read. Show everybody your book. You can get it, I'm sure, at Amazon. Absolutely. Get the book, Start Up Your Life. Get the book, Start Up Your Life.
And actually created a video series to accompany it as well. So for people that want to dig deeper and want to have a community of support around it, they can do the online video series and then be part of the private forum where they have direct access to me.
Hustle and hack your way to happiness.
Cool.
Love it. Perfect. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we are going to head to the Jenny Hutt show. They do their live streaming show. We're going to do our live streaming show, and it's going to be like...
Worlds colliding.
This is going to happen.
We're the visiting team.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
I wanted to get you out of here.
No problem.
When you wanted to get out of here.
I'm sorry.
When you needed to.
So Eric Kaplan, the guy who said, I grew up with Jenny Hutt's husband. He stole my bicycle.
Oh, what?
He's a good guy.
Jenny Hutt's husband?
Let's take a quick picture because she's got to get going. Can you